Now, obviously, there's just a tad bit of controversy in this series after how I handled the last episode and having avoided making any major moves through the trade block, not taking advantage of a very questionable trade offer from Montreal, which of course I even made the joke you could argue that it was a realistic trade because it's Marc Bergevin after all. Not making numerous deals were on the table. Of course, we had the option primarily of trading Kyle Okposo. We did not. We held on to him for the moment. Whether or not I live to regret that, we will see. But for the moment, we're moving on. I'm not saying that we won't trade him in this episode, in the next episode, the episode after that. But what we are doing is heading into this next episode with a pretty similar roster to what the real world Sabres will be heading into this next season with, of course, with the exception of not having Rasmus Dahlin. But let's go ahead. It was the one thing that we have to do before moving on to the free agent class. I am going to sign Budik. I swear to God, I just read the comments to see how to pronounce his name correctly, and I don't remember. I just flat out don't remember. I remember that we have old Pilot here. I remember that, but I can't remember how to pronounce Budik's name. I'm going to go with Budik for the moment. And as far as the other option, Hagel, we're going to let him go to the free agent market for now. We'll take a look at who is there, and it might be worth signing one more person, perhaps. That could very well be a possibility, but of course, I'm not against having that open roster spot heading in to the beginning of the season. Of course, we might be able to take advantage of waivers as Wojciech Budik has signed, and we will go ahead and move on. So, of course, aside from the draft, of course, making the picks that we made, of course, we bought out Matt Molson. We were able to re-sign Reinhart as a result to a pretty fair deal. And of course, there was the lack of trades. But like I said, at this point, I'm kind of happy. For once, I held off as, oh my God, we can't afford him. But Dylan Larkin, of course, in real life, he has since signed. But when we started this series, he had not signed. He, Darnell Nurse, and Nick Ritchie are all RFAs. We won't be able to get involved with any of them, unfortunately. But that is okay. That is all right. Now, of course, see, here's my point, right? Had we moved Kyle Okposo, we signed Sam Reinhart, and I probably get Darnell Nurse, maybe Larkin. That's a drastic change. Now, a lot of people aren't against that, of course, but I think in the back of my mind, while of course, I'm playing franchise mode, I want to solve the issues with the team as quickly as I possibly can. I did know that if we made certain moves, like taking that Okposo deal, that it would have led down the rabbit hole of being able to take advantage of the AI's terrible mismanagement of certain RFAs heading into this first offseason. So, I don't regret my decision, but certainly we could have helped turn things around that much more quickly. I do want to look at goaltenders as, there is nobody. Van Pottelberg's there, as is Evan Cormier. Van Pottelberg's not bad. Let me check goaltenders really quickly. Let me get a full look at our roster, and we'll decide what to do from there. We're on, 48 contracts at this point? Indeed we are. We're still listed as rebuilders, which is probably fairly accurate. So goaltenders, we have 5 signed at the moment, which is perfect. Of course, we ended up with Ovechkin. I don't know if we'll ever sign him. We probably will. It's the type of guy where I could trade away, but I think I'm going to try to develop him. And if it doesn't work out, it is what it is. We'll play it a little bit differently in that way. Of course, we ended up drafting Merkley and everything as well. So a goaltender we don't necessarily need. We could look for a forward or a defenseman. How many defensemen do we have on roster right now? So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the AHL. Fadoon, Martin, Budik, Stevens, all depth. So we do not need any more defense at all. And I'd imagine forward-wise, we're looking pretty good as well. That is the full 12 there. So from Larson down, Remove the extra 3. 1, 2, 3. And we have... Yeah, we really don't need anybody. Based on the amount of guys that we have signed right now, there's not really a need to bring in anybody else. I'm going to double check the free agent list. If there's like this can't miss go-to prospect, I'll probably look to bring them in. But we'll double check. There's a decent chance of me not doing anything here and of us getting into the regular season sooner rather than later. Duncan Siemens is there. Linus Nassen, I'm surprised he hits the free agent list. He could actually be worth signing, as could Middleton for that matter. We're not the only team to let go of some half-decent players. Damian Riot, let go of Washington. Would not be a terrible signing, but I think we're going to hold off. I think we're going to move forward towards the beginning of Season 2. Of course, we'll see how the free agent list pans out, whether or not Larkin is offer sheeted, or if he ends up just being a free agent and sitting there. As we do get another offer for Kyle Okposo, I imagine the trade block is still set up the same way. It's not. It reset. Okay. Well, for the moment, I'm going to completely clear that out. We'll get to the preseason, and I think maybe I'll just see how this team's doing. And, of course, if we're still struggling, then will be the time, as I didn't clear out everything there, unfortunately. But if we're still struggling at that point, that'll be the time where we absolutely start to look to just make moves. But for the moment, like I said, I'm pretty happy with where this team is after the first season, as Nick Ritchie, offer sheeted by the Devils. The Ducks did not match. They could not match. Nick Ritchie is off to the New Jersey Devils. The Devils also made a trade, sending Will Butcher to St. Louis for Nolan Stevens in a second, Colin Wilson in a fourth to Nashville. So Colin Wilson back to Nashville for a first. That's insane. And there were 7th round picks swapped. And that's that. So Colin Wilson back to Nashville, and Will Butcher off to St. Louis. Their defense must be ridiculous. Anaheim only gets a 2nd round pick for Nick Ritchie. Horrible cap management, as the Bruins signed Kari Lettinen to a 2-year deal. Good God, I'd be upset. Stafford, Winnick, and then Ritchie. So nothing there yet. That's a pretty good deal for New Jersey, though. Give up a 2nd round pick, get Nick Ritchie for cheap. To be honest, I might have been able to offer that 1-year deal and a much cheaper deal. It might have worked to bring in somebody for dirt cheap. Talk about how that's a cheap tactic if I do it. The AI themselves are doing it. Well, let's take a look, actually. What would Larkin be on a 1-year deal? Still way too much. I know that was a 2-year deal, but yeah, there's no way. He wants a long-term deal. What about Darnell Nurse? 2.9. Still can't afford him. You know, in fairness, Nick Ritchie, that actually might have worked. All things considered. Let's go ahead and move forward another week or so. I want to keep an eye on the Larkin and Nurse situation. Actually, let's go 2 weeks here. And we'll see what we're dealing with, of course, as we edge closer to the start of Season 2, which, of course, we'll get into. And I'm excited to see how we do. Obviously, had we traded Okposo, Jake Evans would have been a part of this team, but you see the depth that we have already. It might not be the best depth, but we do have players signed. Cederholm, Ruinen, Saigon, Linus Nassen, Keith Middleton, New Jersey making moves. Hogberg, Cole Candela, and that's that. So still, Dylan Larkin finds himself, and Darnell Nurse for that matter, on the free agent market. Let's go ahead and sim to say August 1st. We'll see if anything happens there. You know, in fairness, let's go 2 weeks at a time. Let's go 2 weeks at a time. Actually, that wouldn't have even been 2 weeks. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything with these moves, because I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to go and look later and scroll through every team to try and find out where Dylan Larkin signed. Still no updates for Larkin. Justin Falk, Letestu. The Ducks want to hear what the return. What? What do you mean the Ducks want to hear what the return is on Larkin? The hell are you talking about? Signings, Letestu. That must just be a glitch, because obviously he's not on... Well, no, that's right. He got traded to Anaheim. That's right. He got traded to Anaheim, and the Ducks have already lost Nick Ritchie and still can't afford Dylan Larkin. Oh, God. The AI GMs are not always the brightest crayons in the box, are they? Yikes. I certainly hope in NHL 19 they pose a little bit more of a threat, and that they're a little bit more wise to their situations and what the human GMs that are going up against them are actually capable of. And I don't think he's going to sign. They were able to sign Justin Falk. That's good. You're going to lose 2 forwards via offer sheet potentially, but hey, we signed Justin Falk and not that one from the Hurricanes. Not to say that Justin Falk, Falk, is the worst player in the world. He's still hanging around the NHL and has for quite a while at this point, but I think you get the point. Where Dylan Larkin goes at this point, who the hell knows? If anything, I'd bet on him probably just staying put. That's what it seems to be working towards, I would say. As we're able to set captains, we'll do so later. Let me double check what this roster is going to be. And again, hopefully, we end up getting a pretty nice waiver option moving forward. So Hutton's an 83. Allmark's up to a 78. Not bad. Again, looking in Wedgwood. And wow, Johansson. Holy shit. Up to a 70. That is not bad. I don't know if he'll ever turn into a half-decent player for us or not, but that is tremendous to the point where we're going to call up Scott Wedgwood to carry him on the NHL roster. He's just going to sit there. That way Luukkonen and Johansson can play. That is fantastic. Crazy development from Johansson over the past season. Good stuff. That gives us another option moving forward, perhaps a potential backup goalie of the future. Risto's an 86. Bolio's up to an 82. Not too shabby. Pilots there. Nelson, Borgen, Goulet. We're not looking bad. We're not looking too bad. We will call up Tennyson and Taylor Fadoon. And I'll probably carry that one extra forward. Speaking of which, Jack Eichel up to an 89. Reinhardt's an 85. Middlestad's up to an 82. Tremendous. And let's see. We do have too many forwards. I mean, in terms of Jesus. I haven't even looked at... Yeah, oh boy. Okay. Yeah, we have a log jam here. We have a log jam of talent. Let's cancel that call up for the moment. This is rough. Ogilvy, I'm going to probably leave down in the minors. Really, all of them. Thompson has to play. You could argue so does Rodriguez. We have too much talent for too few spots. And I'm not sure how I want to decide, because I don't think I want to set up the team for training camp and just be like, whoever's the best goes through. We've done that before. But there's a lot to do there. So Wilson's under contract for this year. Pretty sure I could send him down. He would, if he comes back up, he'd have to go through waivers. As it is, we have 2 players too many. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Trading Okposo would have been nice. Then again, we still would have had a player that we would have had to worry about. Let's see. I honestly don't know. We need to make some moves at some point. That is for sure. As it is, I still have 1 player too many. Like, who's not going to be in the starting lineup? Probably Gergensons? Probably? If that's our top 12 right there, I'd probably argue... I think ideally Saboka and Berglund would be gone. Of course, that's just, good role players, good middle 6 guys, but goddamn, especially when we're trying to get younger. If we have Rodriguez and Thompson. So, that could be our top 12 in a way. Obviously, it would suck to not play Saboka and Berglund, and they're certainly above AHL level. Hell, Gergensons is down there, too. That's kind of a sign of the logjam of talent we have at the moment. There are a lot of options for us. I think what I'm going to do... Let's see, Pilot's a 77, huh? We have Bogosian down to a 79. How long is his deal? Jesus, he still has an extra year. Oh, that's so bad. I think what I'm going to do for the moment is put him down in the AHL, and then Hunwick. Casey Nelson's not going to get any better than that. And then Goulet and Borgen can still play down in the AHL. I think I want Pilot to be on the starting roster. And in terms of how this team looks, Let's say we edit the lines here. Let's see what we're looking like. In all honesty, it's not too bad if we start to move out certain players. So let's see, we have Rodriguez, Thompson. I don't think I want Johan Larsson there. Is anybody actually a natural left wing? No, we got a lot of natural right wings on the team. I would think ideally it would still be Skinner, Eichel, Okposo. You could even argue Skinner, Eichel, Reinhart. But then there's Middlestat. And who the hell do we want Middlestat playing with? It could be Sherry, Middlestat, Okposo. That's not bad. But I feel like having Eichel and Skinner work together, like they're going to be dominant, especially if we put Okposo with them. And then you consider, granted, apparently Sherry and they're good. I mean, 4-star, 4-star, fine, whatever. I like that second line. I like that second line a lot. Could have Pominville here. Thompson is technically a third line guy. I can't believe Larson's listed as a fourth line guy, but we can run it this way as a result. So let's say Pominville, Thompson, Rodriguez, Baptiste, Larson, and Bailey. That is not a bad-looking team. It really isn't. And then defensively, again, McCabe, Beaulieu, Hunwick, Pilot, Scandella, and Risto. So in terms of the lefty-righty dynamic, it's not great, but it's not completely terrible. I think I want to bump up Pilot as well. Ideally. Have Hunwick and Scandella. Beaulieu, Pilot. We'll have Beaulieu on the right, with him being a better, just better in terms of puck skills, ever so slightly. The senses are a little bit higher. I don't hate this team. That's all I can really say at this current stage. I don't hate this team. And now, of course, we have the option. I'm going to go to roster moves here, if it will stop, like, oddly glitching out. We can call up our one defenseman. That'll be Bogosian, so sorry, Fadoon, that's not going to happen. But we can have Bogosian as our depth defenseman. That could change, of course, if someone starts to struggle. And then our depth forward options, I don't really think they would have planned on just sitting, but Sobotka and Berglund. Actually, that would be above the limit, never mind. Gergensons? Maybe just have the better players down in the minors. Sobotka, congratulations. Maybe, yeah, Sobotka, former Bruin. Screw it, you get the call up as a result. Because I don't really want Smith just sitting there. I'd rather have him play in the AHL. So if we take a look at what Rochester's going to look like, I'm excited for this season. But boy, do we have some contracts that we have to get rid of. So again, healthy scratches of Wedgwood, Bogosian, Sobotka. I could just send down Wedgwood and have him... You know, I'm going to have to do that. Wedgwood will just be a healthy scratch down in the AHL. That's the better way to go about it. So we'll call up Patrick Berglund, who was just happy about being named captain. Sorry, buddy, it's gone. Now you get to sit in the press box. Have fun with that. Have fun. Down in the AHL, we'll have Luukkonen. We'll take out Adam Wilcox, who's under an AHL deal, and we'll put in Johansson. And then defensively, this is where it gets tough. I mean, Taylor Fadoon's out. We are going to have to pick between a few people. Redmond's not going to be signed. Bryson Martin did well to get up to a 70. We'll give him a chance. Tennyson is the next guy to likely be out, and then Casey Nelson would have to be the guy out after that. That was really weird how that didn't load properly. Oh my god, EA, what is going on? You're like 2 or 3 button presses behind what I'm trying to do here. That's so weird. Let's, again, drop Tennyson down. He's the next one to come out if necessary. I mean, again, we have that decision of do we want to play Budik and Stevens, or do we want to play the better options, and I'm down to play the prospects. Casey Nelson, I really like you, but yeah, I'm going to play, I think I'm going to play Devontae Stevens for a decent part of this season, just to see if we can get these guys to develop. So we'll go Goulet and Borgen, and then who are the best on the puck? Probably Hickey and Budik. And we'll do it that way. Again, I could just sit these guys, mainly outside of Hickey, Martin, Stevens, and Budik. I could sit them and play the better options, but for the moment, we'll give them a chance to start the season. And then Dalton Smith is not our prospect. Neither is Pascal Aquin, who knows. Chris Cuolo is under contract to us, unfortunately. We'll bring in Eric Cornell. And Tyler Randall will sit for Karabasic. So who... Actually, everybody's under contract to us. All right. Who is not priority in terms of developing them? Scott Wilson. First and foremost, I'd say Scott Wilson. We had the 24-year-old there and Danny O'Regan. Gergensons will play on a higher line. And now we'll start going, or on the higher line than those guys. Now we'll start going potentially by overall and potential. Actually, let's go with Osplund. Can he play center? Yes, he can. He'll be with Nylander, and we'll have Smith. So I'm thinking that's pretty much the combination. We'll have Asplund at center. Pretty sure, yeah, we'll put Ogilvy on the right because Malone cannot play center. Let's have Olofsson there unless Ogilvy's better. Ogilvy's much better. So we'll put Olofsson on the right. That's fine. Garrett Bassett, Gergensons, Cornell. That's already set up well. And Porter at center. Beautiful. So the forward core is pretty much good to go, as is. The one thing, of course, we could do for the AHL team is just put the better players in there. But for the moment, I think we're okay. This is what the team is shaping up to be to start this season. Obviously, too many players for too few spots. I'm going to start the year Okposo's captain, huh? Don't think I agree with that. Don't think I agree with that. Risto does deserve a letter, so that's fine. How could I not give a letter to Pominville? That's my question. Yeah, I think we have our captains here. Captain Eichel, Assistant Captain Pominville, and Rasmus Ristolainen. That is the correct way to handle it. And then down in the AHL, just because morale's on and I like fucking with people, let's see what we can do. Gergensons is captain, that's fine. Yeah, you guys, you're losing your letters. Sorry, but that's gonna happen. Defensively, let's have USA Olympian William Borgen, and the other forward, probably Smith. Probably, Scott Wilson. Kevin Porter, he's a veteran. Let's do it. Kevin Porter, congratulations, good sir. And with that, we are pretty much good to get this season underway. I do want to clear out the trade block. I want to set up scouting, and of course I want to see what the free agents are going to look like heading into next season. For the moment, I'm going to clear out the block entirely. We'll start to see how we're doing this season, and we'll take it from there. I have a feeling, though, regardless, I'm going to have to look for some trades anyway. Especially for some of the guys that we're looking to get rid of. But if I have the trade block set up the way I did during the draft, there's a decent chance of me getting stuck in a 3 to 5 minute loop where the game just doesn't know what the hell to do. So we'll start with WHL forwards for 3 weeks. Of course, we'll start to get into the computer-generated players. We'll see if they're as bad as they traditionally are. And the only other thing to do is to check pending free agents. Heading into this next season, Erik Karlsson, Blake Wheeler, Tyler Seguin, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. Good Lord. Wow. All right. There's going to be a lot of money thrown around. Bobrovsky, Rene, Talbot. Things are potentially about to change. I would expect the majority of these players to end up back with the club that they're still currently on. But a lot could change moving forward. Let's go ahead and get Season 2 underway. We'll sim a little bit beyond. Let's go a little bit beyond the midway point of the opening month, and we'll take it from there. Again, we'll see how this team does in the early stages. I didn't look at the power play or the penalty kill, and I wouldn't really actually have to with the way we set it up as far as setting down everyone, going best lines, and then calling everybody back up. So we should be fine in that regard. Whoops, that is unfortunate. Let me go ahead and stop that. Stop simulation, please. Yet you still move forward a day. Why must you do that to me? Yay, why must you? As Eichel had 9 points in 7 playoff games. I wish. Preseason games. As there is a franchise player in the WHL. That could be worth looking out for. Unfortunately, I think our team's too good at this current stage for us to hope for one of those bottom spots. The only way is if our goaltending just falls apart, I would think. I mean, obviously our defense isn't anything phenomenal. Having Erasmus Dahlin, of course, Would have been game-changing. Yeah, let's go to player morale. Why not? What are we dealing with? Jack Eichel, what's up, buddy? Feels good to see the C. You're damn right. Demanding. Big responsibility, buddy. No impact. Good. I'm not happy about losing my captaincy. Well, people aren't happy that you're still here. So, demanding. Yeah. That was suggested to me to just go demanding. It worked out. Okposo's like, yeah, screw it, I'll still play for you. I'm pissed, but now I'm not pissed because I don't know. You get the point. As holy hell, 9-1 victory over the Dallas Stars. Criminy. 2-2-1 to begin this season. By the way, more player meetings. What do we got? Who wants to talk? Matty Hunwick. You've been underperforming. Have you even been playing? I guess you have been. Numbers are black and white. We need you to produce. Responds well to a firm approach. You're damn right he does. You're damn right. Take off the kid gloves. CJ Smith. You know, yeah, CJ, you're great. Don't rest on your laurels, CJ. I demanded too much out of him. I'm great. Yeah, we'll keep it up. Oh, God, maybe I'm not so great. Coach wants me to do more of what I'm doing. Oh, God, no, I can't. I'm scared. I'm shaking in my skates. We're 4-2-1. God damn it, CJ Smith. That's ridiculous. I got to admit, Coach, I'm pretty fucking good. And I'm like, yeah, you could do better. And he's like, well, I'm heartbroken. I don't know how to live anymore. What do I do? What is life? So I just sent a player into an existential crisis. Sorry, CJ. It's all right though. So we have a winning record. Connor Sherry was slightly injured. That's okay. Rochester's doing well. Despite the weaker defense on paper, prioritizing some prospects, and we're 6-3-1 to begin Season 2. Not bad at all. I do want to take a look around the league, see if there have been any trades. Skinner has 16 points in 10 games, and of course, we are going to have to worry. I swear to God, I thought it froze. We are going to have to worry about re-signing one Jeff Skinner sometime soon. No trades, no signings. Pretty straightforward. I think ideally I'd like to get closer to the deadline in this episode. We're approaching the half-an-hour mark. I think I can get there in relatively quick order. Let's find out. Let's go midway, just beyond the midway point of the month. We start off November with a shootout win against LA and a 4-3 win there against Carolina. This could be a good season for us if we keep up this fairly ridiculous pace that we're on right now. Like I said, there were some good looking aspects of this team. It's just now whether or not they actually perform, and of course how certain players react to being benched. Obviously, someone like Taylor Fedun was already pissed last year that he wasn't playing that much. We're at 10-7-1. Rochester at 7-7-3. I am going to go ahead and sim to December 1st, but we're looking pretty good. O'Regan's not happy about his ice time. Well, too bad, buddy. Too bad. This is what happens when you pretty sure get traded here for Evander Kane. I think that's how he ended up on this team. Maybe. I can't remember. Let's take a look here. Let's go 3 weeks for OHL defensemen, as we are losing more games now. We're on actually one hell of a losing streak here that we do snap against the Leafs. So 11-11-1, and I would expect someone like Dylan Larkin to just be sitting now for the rest of the season. It's not looking too good for him. Where are we as of December 1st? 23 points in 23 games. 4 points back of Florida, but they have 3 games at hand, so we're not horrifically off the pace. Jeff Skinner still performing at an amazing level. Actually, let's take a look here. So again, Skinner's doing great. Eichel's doing pretty good. Okposo, 13 points in 23 games. It's not bad for him, really. He shouldn't be a top liner. Connor Sherry, 12 points it's actually okay. Middlestad's doing well with 15 points, and 15 points for Sam Reinhart. Not that bad. What's the power play look like with those two? Okay, they both have power play time, so that works. Third line, Pominville, 10 points at a -4, 10 points for Thompson, 11 points for Rodriguez, not bad. 5 points for Baptiste, 7 for Larson, 7 for Bailey. I don't mind how the forwards are playing right now. Defensively, oh, Jesus. minus 14 for McCabe, minus 11 for Risto. Pilot's doing well. Bullia not so much. Hunwick's doing well. Scandella's doing well. Huh. Well, I want to keep Hunwick and Scandella together. Congratulations, Pilot. You're playing with Rasmus Ristolainen now. And we'll have McCabe with Bullia. And we'll see how they do. Goaltending-wise, Hutton has not been great. Allmark has been much worse than that. But there's really not a whole hell of a lot we can do to change that up. And then down in the AHL, just look at the goaltenders. Luukkonen. Oh. Luukkonen. You're a monster. You're not a wizard, but you're a monster. So what we like to see as, boy, Rasmus, step it up, buddy. You got to step it up. But for the moment, we are okay. I'm going to check for trades. It has been a little bit. We'll see what's going on around the league, if anything. And of course, moving forward, we'll definitely start to consider certain moves. Darnell Nurse goes to the Bruins. All right, so there you go. Darnell Nurse ended up as a Boston Bruin. It didn't say what they had to give up for him, if anything. No, that's right, he was traded, wasn't he? I think he was traded there too. I'm already forgetting some of the trades. And of course, confusing some of the moves from the Milwaukee series. Are there any other top free agents? There are not, so we're good. I was hoping for maybe a potential waiver pickup. Not looking likely, but the versatility that it gives us if we were to start getting involved in trade discussions, having that open roster spot, that would be incredibly helpful. So that I like. As Johansson goes down with a hamstring injury, he'll be out until the beginning of January. So he'll be down. He'll be down for a month. We do have Scott Wedgwood though, ready to step into that lineup and be the backup. As we are struggling to get above 500, 14, 13, and 2 on the year. There we go. We're back up to 500 midway through December. Happy holidays to us all. Let's see. Let's go OHL goaltending for 2 weeks. As, again, I want to see where we are in terms of the playoff picture once we get closer to the deadline. Really, even the beginning of February should let us know. As we're on 34 points, the Panthers are on 37. We have 2 games at hand. It's not a bad spot to find ourselves in. Have there been any other trades? No trades, no signings. The league is quiet right now. It's all going to kick off, though, once we get closer to the deadline. And, of course, mid-season signings, I think, could be a big thing for us, especially if we start making moves. It's just a matter of how crazy we want to be with the moves. It's like, do I get the green light from the majority of the audience here? You lovely, lovely audience members. Do I get the green light to make every move I have to make, but within limitations, as we've talked about, to be like, okay, well, Montreal, they don't need Okposo, but the Islanders could use him, so send him to the Islanders, and at least, don't sit there and rip him off, I guess, in a way. But then again, Montreal essentially tried to, let me rip them off. I mean, not that, a first-round pick for Okposo is insane. But you can't tell me it's not realistic, because Mark Bergevin's insane. So we end up losing Baptiste. We're going to have to edit lines to get Johansson back in as the backup down in Rochester. So Wedgwood, I am sorry, buddy, but you have once again been jumped in the rotation. And Stevens and Budick, not bad. Stevens, though, really not looking like he's going to develop. There's a decent chance I end up taking him out of that lineup. I imagine it would be Sobotka, who is now in the lineup. Could have been Berglund, of course, with the injury to Baptiste. So we're still not on the best run of form right now. 20-19-4. The Airmerks also close to a losing record. I'm going to sim to February 1st, actually. We're pretty much breezing through the early stages of this season, which was the goal. Sobotka's going to take a seat for Baptiste now that he's back. Middlestat, 28 points. Reinhardt as well, not bad. Sherry, not much of a goal scorer, which, I mean, considering what he did, with the Penguins at certain points, kind of would have been, 23 goals to the Penguins, of course, that was with us last season. He put up 18 goals last year. I would have thought he would have been, a little bit better to put up a higher point total this year, at least a goal total. Apparently not, as we are, again, continuing to slide. Rasmus Ristolainen goes down until the beginning of February. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt a lot. I should probably go best lines, but then we'd have to take out Berglund and Sabotka. We might have to rely on Zach Bogosian quite heavily over the next few games. I can't imagine it would go that much worse, although we do lose our first 2 games and give up 9 goals. Okay, 13 goals in 3 games. I know Zach Bogosian's not the best, but come on now. I think our goaltending deserves some of the blame. Don't you? What a top pair, though. Without editing that, what a top pair. In general, why is it showing me Bogosian stats? What the hell? God, Risto. Oh, God, McCabe. All right, Risto and McCabe are just not doing well. Yikes. All right, so Beaulieu wasn't working well together with Pilot. He's working better with McCabe, but McCabe sucks. Hunwick and Scandella aren't killing it anymore. So I think what we're going to do is have Scandella with Pilot. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. How did Bogosian do? You know what, though? Out of necessity. So we had these 2. We don't want these 2 to be together anymore. So we're going to drop McCabe. Go McCabe, Scandella. Fucking Beaulieu, Ristolainen. And I'm going to take out Hunwick for Bogosian for the moment. The top pairings reunited. We are, of course, going to mix up the order here. Pilot's going to be with Bogosian. We can actually have Pilot on the right-hand side. Actually, well, no, he's a righty. Bogosian's a righty. Scandella and McCabe. We're going to put McCabe on the right. Beaulieu and Risto. And we'll see how that goes. For the moment, the rest of the team is going to stay the same. Because I don't necessarily feel like... I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't really feel like Berglund and Sabotka, putting them into the lineup is going to be like this drastic, game-changing alteration, and suddenly we're going to be President's Trophy contenders. I mean, really, they're 1 or possibly 2 points ahead of some of the other forwards that we have at the moment, as we're 24, 26, and 5 on the season. We finally get over to the queue. Actually, we're in the queue. What am I talking about? Goalies for 2 weeks. Thought we were going to get out of the queue. That is not the case. We at least get a couple of pity points, and Larson sprains his ankle. And this should get Sabotka back in the lineup. 3-0 shutouts over the Oilers. We are under 2 weeks away from the deadline. So we're at a pretty good spot. We're not in the playoffs. We are pretty far off the pace from being in one of the top spots. It takes 60 points to be a playoff team right now, though. We're only 5 points back. It's possible. We are a fringe playoff team, which I think sounds about right. I do. I think that sounds about right. Picks and trading. Oh boy, do we have some moves. Good lord. So Minnesota gets a first, Aube Kubel, and a 5th for Eric Stahl. Eric Stahl is a flyer. Interesting. Again, a first, a 5th, and Nicholas Aube Kubel. Montreal finally gets Paul Stastny. They swap 6th round picks with Vegas, and they also swap Paul Stastny and Nikita Sherbak. So Stastny in a 6th for Sherbak in a 6th. Very interesting. Montreal gets a center, though, that they desperately need. Sherbak off to Vegas. New Jersey gets a 1st and Philippi Myers from Marcus Johansson. So Philly gets Eric Stahl and Marcus Johansson for 2 first-round picks, Myers, Aube Kubel, and a 5th. Philly's clearly going for it, giving up 2 first-round picks. That is crazy. I'm intrigued to see, because that last trade was on the 11th. What the hell do some of these rosters look like right now? And the unfortunate thing is, I know if I don't look at like your team to see what their lineup looks like right now, they're going to be like, well, you should have looked at my team. You might not be wrong. But for the sake of time, a team that really interests me right now, number 1, the Minnesota Wild getting rid of Eric Stahl. Their center depth still isn't terrible. Montreal now with Stastny. So that center depth, I don't hate it. You still have Jonathan Drouin. Some might argue I should have taken away medium elite, but I was kind. Stastny, Deneau, Andrew Shaw. That's not terrible. Stastny fits in well on that team. And now let's take a look here. New Jersey. Yeah, they're looking interesting. But they have Nick Ritchie. And then we'll also take a look at the Philadelphia Flyers. Good Lord. So Johansson, Giroux, Voracek, JVR, Couturier, Simmons, Raffl, Stahl, Patrick is the third line. Konechny is the fourth line center. Good Lord. Obviously, if that's me, you drop Raffl down to the fourth line, and that top nine is absurd. But that's still a crazy team. Then defensively, Gosper, Provorov, Haig, Sanheim, McDonald, Gudis. Who's their goaltender? Is it who I think it is? It is. Carter Hart has already developed. Craziness. 87 at 20 years old. I think Flyers fans are going to hope he develops that quickly. I didn't think he was going to be that good that early, but hey, sometimes, man, goalies just go insane. And Vegas. Vegas, they're not even playing Sherbak. He's a healthy scratch. That's probably not a smart move. I mean, granted, they did the same thing with Thomas Tatar, essentially. So who's to say it's overly unrealistic? But yeah, 2 weeks out, just about. And again, we're only 5 points out of a playoff spot. Let's take a look at the team, because I think now is the time, especially if we wanted to use the trade block for teams to come to us, now is the time where we have to decide what we're doing. Jeff Skinner, on an expiring contract, our leading point getter this season. Let's take a look at what Jeff Skinner's looking for, shall we? And we'll also be able to get a look at our extension money at the moment. There might be pressure to make moves here. We might not have a choice, especially if it means us potentially losing Jeff Skinner for nothing, especially when we still have that buyout penalty for one more season. So expiring deals, Skinner, McCabe, Beaulieu, Pominville, who of course we'll let go of. I kind of hope he retires. It's one of the things I didn't really want to get rid of him, of course, once he came back. Let's take a look, though, at that money. 14 mil. So we'll be able to re-sign Jeff Skinner, but once you start getting... I mean, really, we should be able to bring everybody back. We should be able to bring everybody back without making any major moves, but of course, it's still something that we have to consider, especially you look at some of these prospects, like someone like a Davidson absolutely has to be signed. Anybody else that's unsigned? Loxonen would have to be brought in. He's looking great for someone of that potential. We definitely have some moves that we're going to have to make here. And of course, there'll be a decent amount of roster turnover as well. Now it's just a matter of who stays and who goes. Who do we actively try to shop? Am I allowed the free reign to just go out and make these moves? But again, maybe try to make sure, and I usually do, try to make sure that teams are at least interested in the player or it makes sense for them to be acquired. But draft pick-wise, again, we have the extra second-round pick from San Jose. We also have the extra fourth and an extra seventh from New Jersey. Goaltending-wise, we're okay. We have Luukkonen developing. Ovechkin's already up 4 points this season. Carter Hutton's our guy until Luukkonen's ready. We got 2 more years after this of Carter Hutton. We're going for it. Johansson has somewhat developed. He might be able to at least be potentially a backup to Luukkonen in the future, because I don't think Allmark's going to be the long-term guy. He does have an expiring deal. And then Scott Wedgwood, this will, of course, be his last season here. There's no point in trying to trade him. That's not going to happen. So goalie-wise, we're pretty much set. It's just now, of course, again, Hutton and Allmark, and then hopefully the pairing that takes over is Luukkonen and Johansson. Wedgwood will be gone after this season. Defensively, Ryan Merkley's now a 74 at 18 years old, so he's up from a 67. He will be probably on the NHL roster next season as a 19-year-old. Very good chance that we end up signing him this upcoming offseason. If not, we wait, and then by 20 years old, he's going to be a monster offensively. Of course, defensively, you see like the lower stick checking rating. Defensively, of course, more of an offensive dynamo in real life. So we'll see how he continues to develop. McCabe, Beaulieu expiring deals. Would we want to re-sign either of them? That's certainly a big question. McCabe and, I mean, Beaulieu, point-wise, has done a little bit better. But obviously, it depends on the money total for those two. Scandella still has 2 more years. Goulet is there. Fitzgerald would need a new contract. And then I suppose the big thing, of course, Kyle Okposo, $6 million for 4 more years after this year. Alex Nylander signed. I don't know why that's 4 years still at this point. That should have been down to 3, but that's kind of weird. Actually, that should have been down to lower than that. That's incredibly weird. I'll take it, but it's still incredibly weird. I'm not entirely sure. But this team, what I do know, is that this team is shaping up in quite a positive way. I like what I see here. Obviously, though, the sooner we kind of move on from certain guys, like Vladimir Sobotka's pissed, obviously. That might make it extremely difficult to trade him. It could still be done, more than likely, just to get you another look at what we're looking like here. I don't know if it's going to be possible to move on from Sobotka and Berglund. It might be, and if we can get a trade done there, even if we have to give up a prospect to pull it off, it would probably be worth it because we don't want either of those two playing over some of these younger guys. So if we could work out deals there, that would be tremendous. Easier said than done when Sobotka has an extra year left and Berglund has 3 years left after this season. But again, when you look at the players who are in the lineup now, you factor in that Smith is currently a healthy scratch, or not a healthy scratch, but down in the AHL. The fact that really Smith and Ogilvy, you could argue, deserve a chance probably closer to the fourth line. You look at some of the other guys we have coming up, hopefully someone like an Alex Nylander develops. We definitely have options, and that's really the theme of today. We have options. And Borgen is going to be ready next year. You could argue it's kind of a priority to call him up now and let him play the rest of the season. He deserves it. He does. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to let you guys have your input, your feedback down in the comments below. Let me know what you are thinking as far as how this team is set up at the moment and just how restrictive, if at all, my potential moves have to be. Of course, what I'm going to do, really one way or another, is go through and look at what certain teams are interested in. That's really going to be the best way to handle it, I'd say. And again, that's what I normally do anyway. I just often do it before I record an episode, and I get a Word document up in front of me saying, okay, this is a potential trade, this is a potential trade, and kind of handle it that way. I did the same thing for a recent Ospreys episode, where we'll try to make sure at the very least that the trade makes sense. But it's just a matter of how ridiculous with the trades do we be. Do we look to get rid of someone like a Kyle Okposo, where, you know, in real life, that's a hell of a contract to try and move. But we might just be able to find a team that's dumb enough to take it. I mean, Montreal were offering, so I guess that goes to say something, I do suppose. But for now, we are done here. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your support on the video, on the channel, road to 10K, NHL 19 on the horizon. Who cares, though, because I'm enjoying the series. It's been a lot of fun. Will we be a playoff team this season? Don't know. Season 3? I hope so. Thank you. Love you. Goodbye.